There are two important aspects to the sporting market in China. The first one is a declaration that was made by President Xi at the end of 2014. Xi, the president, announced that he wanted China to effectively create the world's biggest sport economy by 2025. At the moment, the North American market is the biggest, accounting for about 40% of world economic activity in sport. But Xi wants China to surpass that and to become the biggest sport economy in the world. So I think in terms of opportunities, this is an interesting time that will continue for the next 7 or 8 years. And it's really broad and all-encompassing. So it's not just about big-name football clubs, football players. It's about sport in general, the manufacturing of equipment, the development of service industries like sponsorship consultancies. It's about coaching and development. It's about infrastructural projects. And so I think it's very important that businesses across the full spectrum of industry realise that there are potential opportunities for them to become involved in Chinese football, but in Chinese sport more generally. I think the second important aspect of doing business in China and observing opportunities is something that someone once said to me, which is never pretend that you can know China. I think China is so vast, geographically and in terms of population size. Culturally, it's very, very different. So the east of China, for instance, is very different to the west of China. The social structures, the culture, the way people live their lives, the way in which they consume, their spending habits are very different and very diverse across the whole of China. And it's important to know that. So it's a business can't have a single broad brush approach to China. It's really got to engage in segmenting the market, in targeting particular segments, and trying to do everything for everybody all the time is I think, very, very difficult. So in that sense, I think the next part of doing business in China is work with people who know China. There are some good companies out there, both Chinese and non-Chinese, that profile the market, gather research, have got data that provide insights into Chinese consumption habits and into Chinese industry. It's very, very important, I think, for prospective business people in China to take that into account and to remember that. The other thing about China is to remember that it's a very different type of economic system to certainly to Western Europe and to North America, and I think socioculturally it's very different too. You will need to work with intermediaries, and I think you will need to work with local people who have a deep understanding of what it means to do business there. And that really links to a final point, which is that for businesses that are looking for fast cash in China, it's a big market, economic growth is strong, growing middle class, rising disposable incomes. It's inevitable that businesses will see a quick and fast opportunity there. China's not like that. I think the way to successfully entering the market and sustaining a long-term presence in the market is very much based upon a more strategic and collaborative view of business that is very much based around relationship building. And so in that sense, I think businesses have to accept that China is something of a slow burn. It's not something that is going to come quickly over the next week or month or possibly even year. I think in some cases it may take 2, 3, 4, 5 years to actually establish a successful and sustainable presence in China.